Hello, my dear students. Welcome to another session of Management Principles and Applications. And today it is the second session for planning, forecasting, and scheduling, where we would be discussing about forecasting. So, first of all, what is forecasting? We have seen in the previous slides that in order to plan effectively, every organization must be able to estimate what resources will be required in future to achieve all its goals very effectively. Now, for example, let us assume that an organization makes generators. So, in order to plan how many generators are to be produced in the next quarter or in the next year, the organization must predict next period's expected sales. So, it can be a quarter, it can be year or biannual. So, this requires forecasting the demand for generators and the sales for the organization. Hence, forecasting is instrumental to sound planning. So, with this basis, let's see forecasting is a process of making predictions about the future course of a business or a company based on trend analysis and past and present data. So essentially, data is collected and studied about the business, and analysis is done to forecast future scenarios that are likely to occur. Hence, forecasting is an important tool in the process of business planning. Now, forecasts are usually done by managers at different levels. Or there can be statisticians who analyze the data, experts, economists, consultants, etc. So they involve a lot of data collection, both from past and present, and uh, to be able to forecast what is going to happen in future. So it involves a lot of data analysis as well. Now, features of forecasting. Forecasting relates to future events. It's very obvious. We are going to forecast the future. And that's why this word forecast. Forecasting is needed for planning process because it devises the future course of action. Also, it defines the probability of happening of future events. Therefore, the happening of future events can be precise only to a certain extent. So, forecasting is probabilistic in nature. You cannot be very sure about future at any point in time. And hence, you can just predict or forecast the events. Forecasting is made by analyzing the past and present factors which are relevant for the functioning of an organization. Like I asked you that question, that how many times have you seen the fan falling from the ceiling? On the basis of that, you would predict that can the fan above my head can fall or not. So from the past data, you try and predict your future, though it can only give you a just a fair idea because things are uncertain. The analysis of various factors may require the use of statistical and mathematical tools and techniques. So there are various statistical and mathematical techniques that are available to forecast the future. So there is regression analysis, there is time series analysis, and so on, which helps in analyzing the data to predict the future. Role of forecasting. What forecasting does for managers. It helps the managers in the following ways. The first is it is basis of planning. So forecasting is the key to planning. It generates the planning process. Planning decides the future course of action which is expected to take place in certain circumstances and conditions. Unless the managers know these conditions, they cannot go for effective planning. Hence, planning and forecasting go hand in hand. Forecasting provides the knowledge of planning premises within which the managers can analyze their strengths and weakness and can take appropriate actions in advance before actually they are put out of market. So forecasting provides the knowledge about the nature of future conditions. Now second is promotion of organization. The objectives of an organization are achieved through the performance of certain activities. What activities should be performed depends on the expected outcome of these activities. Since expected outcome depends on future events and the way of performing various activities, forecasting of future events is of direct relevance in achieving an objective. The third is facilitating coordination and control. So, forecasting helps in coordination and control as well. Because if you are able to say have an idea about what is going to happen in future, you are able to coordinate better and also control certain things in your hand. So, forecasting indirectly provides the way for effective coordination and control. How? Forecasting requires information about various factors. Information is collected from various internal and external sources. Almost all units of organization are involved in this process. So, everyone becomes aware of what is going to or what is likely to happen. It provides interactive opportunities for better unity and coordination in the planning process. Similarly, forecasting can provide relevant information for exercising control. The managers can know their weaknesses in the forecasting process and they can take suitable action to overcome these as well. Success in the organization. Now, how forecasting ensures success? All business enterprises are characterized by risk and have to work within the ups and downs of the industry or the external environment. So the risk depends on the future happenings and forecasting provides help to overcome the problem of uncertainty. So you are trying to make uncertainties a bit certain or things expected. What are the things expected in future? Through forecasting, though forecasting cannot check the future happenings, it provides clues about those and indicates when the alternative actions should be taken. So, in the case, for example, in a business scenario, you can go with three strategies. First strategy, if the environment would be unfavorable for you. Second strategy, if environment is favorable to you. And the third strategy, if environment is neutral to you. So you can have all these strategies made according to the forecast. So these are forecasting actually limited your uncertainties. So you categorize your future in three options and then you will work accordingly, plan accordingly. Whereas if you wouldn't have done forecasting, then the first step was not taken and you wouldn't have been able to make a plan about the future. So managers can save their business and face the unfortunate happenings if they know in advance what is going to happen. So forecasting is nothing like a sure shot prediction, but yes, it can to an extent see or foresee some possible scenarios in future, which becomes the base of the plans. What are the steps in forecasting? The first step is developing the basis. So you will develop a base according to which you would be for which you would be forecasting. Estimating future operations, regulating the forecasts and reviewing the method. Let us do them at length. First is developing the basis. The future estimates of various business operations will have to be based on the results obtained through systematic investigation of economy, products, and industry. This is also known as EIC analysis. So, economy, industry, and the company analysis or the product analysis. So, when we do this kind of analysis, we understand for which are we going to forecast. Then the second is estimation of future operations. On the basis of the data collected through systematic investigation into the economy and industry situation, the managers has to prepare quantitative estimates of the future scale of business operations. So it has to be quantitative in nature, that how many units or the products we would be able to sell in the market. Maybe, our generator case, so we would be able to sell, let us say, 10,000 generators in the next year. So that is a kind of a quantitative estimate. Here the managers will have to take into account the planning premises. So in a favorable circumstance, we would be able to sell, let's say, 12,000 generators. If it would be normal, then we would be able to sell 9,000. And if it is not a good year for us, then we should be able to sell at least 5,000, and that might break even your profits also. Third, regulation of forecasts. Now, it has already been indicated that the managers cannot take it easy after they have formulated a business forecast. So, you cannot just sit if you have once planned. So, they have to constantly compare the actual operations with the forecasts prepared in order to find out the reasons for any deviations from forecasts. So, generally, a forecast should go in the manner you've planned, but if it doesn't, then you have to be on your toes to find out why is it happening and how to correct it. So this helps in making more realistic forecasts for future. Next is review of forecasting process. Having determined the deviations of the actual performances from the positions forecast by the managers, it will be necessary to examine the procedures adopted for the purpose so that improvements can be made in the method of forecasting. So you have to keep regulating and reviewing the forecasting process in order to be able to successful. Now, techniques of forecasting. The first and the basic technique here is historical analogy method. So, whenever we have to plan for future, we go back and see what we did. If you have been getting good marks, so there is very likely a possibility that this time also you would be getting good marks. So if the company has been doing good in the previous years, there is very likely a situation that they would be doing good if they are continuously innovating and finding out the products, processes and ways to be competitive. So under this method, forecast in regard to a particular situation is based on some analogous conditions elsewhere in the past. So the economic situation of a country can be predicted by making comparison with the advanced countries at a particular stage through which the country is presently passing. So often we see ourselves comparing with the industrial revolution in US in 1930s, because what happened that time with them, we can take it as an example and we can revolutionize our industry, or go ahead with their learning from their experiences and choosing the best from that. So most of the times we revisit history to find out the solutions in the present. Second, survey method. How would you be forecasting? So the second method you would be adopting is survey method. So surveys can be conducted to gather information on the intentions of the concerned people. Like for example, information may be collected through surveys about the probable expenditure of consumers on various items. Now both quantitative and qualitative information may be collected by this method. So surveys, you have been filling questionnaires about usage of a product. So these are all surveys that whether the product, the kind of product you are thinking to launch in the market, whether it would be lapped up by the consumers or they are indifferent about it. So if they are pretty excited and interested about it, then yes, you should go ahead and produce, mass produce that product. Otherwise, you should innovate and resurvey and see that whether it is whether the consumers are really interested in that product or not. So on the basis of such surveys, demand for various products can be projected. Survey method is suitable for forecasting demand both of existing and new products. So, to limit the cost and time, the survey may be restricted to a sample from the prospective consumers. You cannot possibly go out to every consumer and ask for his feedback or suggestions in a survey. So, you have to find out handful of people who can represent your group in an unbiased manner. So, that's the survey method for forecasting. The third is opinion poll. Now, what is opinion poll? It is conducted to access the opinion of experienced people and experts in the particular field whose views carry a lot of weight. So people actually look forward to them, what are they thinking, and then they would like to follow their beliefs. So opinion polls, generally, have you heard of this name, opinion polls? And when this is more prevalent? In the election times. So then experts come and tell that this party is going to score better in this area. So all those um, are opinion polls. One more example is opinion polls are very popular to predict the outcome of elections, like I've told you. In opinion polls, it gives widely divergent views. The experts may be called for discussion and explanation of why they are holding a particular view. They may be asked to comment on the views of the others, to revise their views in the context of the opposite views, and consensus may emerge. Then it becomes the estimate of future events. So, in case of corporates, you would call, maybe if you are trying to introduce a new product in the market, then you might call your marketing experts from the company, as well as outside media and marketing and distribution agencies, the experts from there, that what do they think about the product. So rather than going to the public at large, you're relying upon the expert's opinion, and that is opinion poll for you. Next is business barometers. What are barometers? So it is the device which measures the pressure. So business barometers, a barometer is used to measure the atmospheric pressure. In the same way, index numbers are used to measure the state of an economy between two or more periods. These index numbers are the device to study the trends, seasonal fluctuations, cyclical movements, and irregular fluctuations. So, these index numbers, when used in combination with one another, provide indications as to direction in which the economy is proceeding. Thus, with the business activity index numbers, it becomes easy to forecast the future course of action. However, it should be kept in mind that business barometers have their own limitations and they are not sure road to success. All types of business do not follow the general trend, but different index numbers have to be prepared for different activities. So, these index numbers are generally, they show different kinds of fluctuations, and that they are essentially mathematical in nature, so that you can compare between the situations. And this way, you get a better quantitative understanding of the data. Time series analysis. So, index numbers can predict or forecast. In the similar manner, these are time series analysis. So one of the basic element of time series analysis are trends. So you plot what has been there on in the past, the demand of your product, and it would give you a trend line. So you can keep on extending it, and you can have a fair idea of where your sales would be this year. So coming back here, time series analysis involves decomposition of historical series into various components with trends, seasonal variances, cyclic variations, and random variances. When the various components of a time series are separated, the variation of a particular situation, the subject under study, can be known over the period of time, and projection can be made about the future. So this is a very, very common method of predicting the future through trend lines. A trend can be known over a period of time, which may be true for the future also. Also, however, time series analysis should be used as a basis for forecasting when data are available for a long period of time. So if you have past 20 years data, then it is better to have a trend line. And tendencies disclosed by the trend and seasonal factors are fairly clear and stable. So if the environment is not changing that frequently and you have past good past data available of the decades, then it is always better to go in for the time series analysis, and that too the trend analysis. Next is regression analysis. We know that we have been doing it x variable and y variable, and from the slope of it you can regress and you can find the unknown variable. So regression analysis is meant to disclose the relative movements of two or more interrelated series. It is used to estimate the changes in one variable as a result of specified changes in the other variables. In economic and business situations, a number of factors affect a business activity simultaneously. So, multiple regression analysis can actually, or multivariate regression analysis can help you find out the best option for you. Regression analysis helps in isolating the effects of such factors to a great extent. For example, if we know that there is a positive relationship between advertising expenditure and volume of sales, or between sales and profit, it is possible to have estimate of sales on the basis of advertising or the profit on the basis of projected sales, provided other things remain same. So ceteris paribus is the assumption we'll take, and we can see them one as a cause and the other as effect. So regression generally works on cause and effect relationship. Next is input output analysis. So according to this method, a forecast of output is based on given input. If relationship between input and output is known, similarly, input requirements can be forecast on the basis of final output with a given input output relationship. The basis of this technique is that the various sectors of economy are interrelated, and as such interrelationships are well established. Now, for example, coal requirement of the country can be predicted on the basis of its usage rate in various sectors like industry, transport, household, etc., and how the various sectors behave in future. So this technique yields sector-wise forecasts and is extensively used in forecasting business events, as the data required for its application are easily obtained. So once you know the output, you can find out the input and you can forecast it better. So this input and output analysis is one of the techniques used in forecasting. Then advantages of forecasting. It assists in planning, yes, it very well helps in planning things. So and that is one of the biggest advantage of it, as it enables the managers to plan for the future of the organization. Planning and forecasting actually go hand in hand. Without an idea of what the future holds for the company, we cannot plan for it. So thus forecasting plays a very important role in the planning. The second is environmental changes. As there would be environmental changes, you'd be able to, change the plan accordingly. So, when done correctly, forecast should be able to point out the upcoming changes in the environment. So, you would be predicting the different changes or different scenarios in the environment, and that ways you would be aware of what the environment is going to be. So, this means that it can allow the company to benefit from such environmental changes when the changes are favorable to the company. It can expand and grow its business, and in conditions that are adverse, it can plan and prepare to protect itself. So, once you know that or you've predicted that there can be certain changes, then you can be well prepared for it. Next is identifying weak spots. Another advantage of forecasting is that it will help the managers identify any weak spots or ignored areas that the organization may have. Because we are forecasting, so we are able to predict any possible scenarios where we will also come to know what can be our possible weaknesses and how to overcome them successfully. Once attention has been drawn to some weak areas, the managers can put into effect effective controls and planning techniques to rectify them. So you get ample time to rectify your problems if any have arisen. And the last, it improves coordination and control. Forecasting requires information and data from a lot of external and internal resources. These information is collected by the various managers and staff from various internal sources. So almost all units and verticals of the organization are involved in the process of forecasting. And in turn, it is going to allow you to have better communication and coordination among them. And as I have told you, forecasting, because you know that what are going to be your challenges, you can coordinate it better, and also you can control the things better. Because if you are caught off-handed and you do not know about it, then you are not prepared for it. But if somebody has told you that the coming future is going to be in a particular way, then you can always equip yourself and be prepared for the future, so you can coordinate it better and control it also. Now, limitations of forecasting. So forecasting is, if you actually see, they're just estimates. The future will always be uncertain, and you can, what possibly can you do, you can just estimate it, but you cannot be sure about it anytime. Even if we use the best of forecasting techniques and account for every aspect imaginable, a forecast is still just an estimate. Nobody knew that we all would be sitting at home like this. So even if we were good at analysis and there are supercomputers with us, but the possible future cannot be predicted with certainty. Then forecasting is based on assumptions only. So basis of forecasting method is assumptions, approximating normal conditions, etc. So that the things remain normal and you can approximate things and you'll assume certain things. So this makes these forecasts unreliable. So one must always keep in mind the inherent limitations of forecasting and be cautious. Like in microeconomics you do demand and supply. So and the forces of demand and supply are going to predict the prices of the product. Now imagine a situation if that ceteris paribus, all things remaining same, assumption wouldn't have been there. Then would you be able to find out the price with certainty? No, you won't be able to. So forecasting is only estimation, and it is based on certain assumptions which are actually limiting its applicability. Then the third is time and cost factors. Now all these sophisticated data analysis and all these techniques, they require a lot of time, patience, money, resources. So the data and information required to make formal forecasts and generally a lot, and the collection and tabulation of such data involves a lot of time and money. The conversion of qualitative data into quantitative data is also another factor, because to be able to compare the things, then you have to keep the data in the quantitative form only. One must be careful that the time, money, and effort spent on forecasting must not outweigh the actual benefits from such forecasts. So, you end up spending so much on forecasting, but you didn't need it much, because with your experience, you could say that your business would have been fine. For example, if you have a jewelry shop, so with your experience, you know that when you'll get good customers and when it would not be. So it is this these Shraddh or Pitra Paksh we call it, and then you the jewelers, they do not expect people at that time. So but if you forecast in this and you think of some sophisticated technique, so you're wasting your time, because anyways things for obvious reasons. So you have to always weigh your cost and benefit of the forecasting. So if the costs are higher and the benefits are lower, then please don't go for forecasting. But otherwise, with some minimal or normal expenditure, if you forecast, then yes, it supports your business and it helps in achieving objectives better. So this was all about forecasting. Thank you so much for listening.